Today on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Sextortion scams are on the rise.
It's called sextortion.
He said, if you do not do what I say, I will ruin your life.
The guys didn't stop with just taking nudes of the kids.
They wanted me to cut my legs on camera.
They were like, get on webcam with me right now, or I'm gonna send this to literally everybody you know.
You think your child might not be a victim? They can be right now. So what is sextortion?
What is sextortion?
What is sextortion?
Sextortion.
Somebody kind of blackmailing somebody for sexual favors.
Sextortion to me would be someone who's forced against their will to perform sexual acts or like blackmailing them for sexual favors.
Well, to be very precise, sextortion is when someone blackmails you into providing them money, images of a sexual nature, or sexual favors by threatening to release your graphic information, videos, and/or pictures. Sextortion is real. And not only is it happening to adults, but sadly, it is also happening to college students, high schoolers, grade schoolers, and even kindergartners. You heard me right, kindergartners. As young as 5 or 6 years old. Parents, this is a wake-up call. A call to pull your heads out of the sand because tragically, in some of these cases, the results are fatal.
I'm Kaylee, and I'm a victim of sextortion.
My son Riley was a victim of sextortion.
I was a victim of an online predator and sextortion. I was blackmailed, coerced, threatened, sexually harassed.
I found myself in a deep hole where they were preying on my insecurities.
My daughter is a victim in one of the largest child sexploitation enterprise cases in the U.S. history. She was targeted by more than 27 men.
They'd be like, take off your bra, or I'm gonna send this picture to literally everybody that you know. I did it, and they would record me, and then they would have more footage to blackmail me with.
He threatened me by saying he was gonna hurt my family or send them pictures.
My son died when he was 15 years, 9 months, and 27 days old. He took his life, but he was murdered. Someone contacted him through Facebook Messenger and got him to send explicit photos and then extorted him.
I lost my older son, Ryan last. He was a straight-A student, a second-degree black belt, and an FFA chapter secretary. Ryan was our world, and I want to make sure that I do everything I can to protect other kids and families.
When I was 12, I was on a website, and this person reached out to me, and they were like, hey, join our chat room. I got really close to these people. I started cutting off all my friends. Eventually, I got really comfortable with them, and they got me to flash them. So I flashed them, and then after that, that's whenever all the problems started.
They showed you pictures of your house.
Yep, they would show me pictures of my house. They would threaten with all kinds of things.
So all you know, they've been sitting out at the curb taking pictures of your house. So at that age, you think, these people have been in front of my house.
Oh, yeah.
They have access to my parents. They
would name off my parents. They would name off my cousins, my family members, and threatening to send it off to them, or like threatening to get them involved, or, you know, just anything that they could do to hold against me, really.
And so you're embarrassed and ashamed here. So they said, we want you now to do something else, and then something else.
Yep, and then they record what I do to, like, on camera. Like, they'll be like, oh, take off your shirt. And I'm like, I don't know what else to do in the situation. Like, I'm crying. I'm, like, telling them I do not want to do this. Like I'll, like, hang up on them, and then they'll, like, start sending more threats.
They didn't ask for money. They wanted
they never asked
images.
Me for money.
And at one point, they wanted you to cut yourself.
Yes, that was one of their fetishes, was me hurting myself. And so they would make me go on camera and cut myself. And it became an addiction, and
it just kept on getting worse and worse, and I ended up in the mental hospital because of it.
Yeah.
I had to get stitches because I hit my artery.
Yeah, so they wanted you to go on and cut yourself, and they're watching this and videoing it.
Mm-hmm.
And you, of course, don't know what they're doing with the videos.
Mm-mm.
They just have them. And so then you got addicted to that, hit an artery at one point, so you had to...
That was what the picture was whenever I got the stitches.
Right.
And then I got put in the mental hospital for a while. But I never told anybody what happened. They would single me out. Like, they'd be like, oh, like, if people found out what you did, they're going to disown you. They're not going to love you. Nobody's going to, like, they're just going to disown you. You're not going to be relevant to them anymore. And you're not going to have a family. They're going to put you on the streets. Like basically that, like, when the FBI came to my door whenever I was 19, I'd never told anybody, not my friends, nobody, what had happened, like, in all those years of being blackmailed, basically every day.
So you're seeing therapists in the hospital, and you're talking about cutting, but you're not telling them why. You're not telling them you're being blackmailed. You're not saying anything.
I just would be like, oh, I don't know, I'm depressed. I don't know. I would be like, I don't want to be alive anymore. It's just like a very dark part of my life because I didn't want to tell anybody. And
you say that this sextortion ring has people that play different roles. There's like the blackmailer, like the evil, and then there's a protector.
Yeah.
That's kind of coming in and saying, hey, we're gonna get this stopped. I'm gonna help you out here. So you got somebody that's giving you some hope.
Yes.
And then you got somebody that's still making demands, and the protector's saying, hey, just hang in there, play along. I'm gonna get this under control for you.
Yep, they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna get their IP address and get them to, like, I'll shut down their computer and make it to where it doesn't work anymore so they can't blackmail you anymore. And so they would be my protector, and they would guard me from the blackmailers, and then I'd get blackmailed again.
Well, we're talking to victims of something called sextortion. And that's when children, mostly, are enticed into doing some type of sexual act, something that exposes them on the internet, and then it starts this seemingly never-ending cycle. Well, you did that, and we're going to expose you to everybody you know unless you do this. And then when you do that, now they've got even more. It's okay, well, you better do this, or we're going to expose you, and they know everything. Where you go to school, who your friends are, family, they have pictures of the house. They're just all up in your life. Now, Kaylee was a victim from the age of 12 to 16. And she says her abusers, as it turned out, kept detailed spreadsheets of their conversations with her, recording her likes, dislikes, friends, family, moods, all to better blackmail her with. Now, joining us is Kaylee's mother, Angela, who says she and her daughter have always been very close, yet she had no idea her daughter was being abused in this way. Now, this went on for a long time, and despite the fact that you two shared so many things and were so close, this was something she didn't know how to bring this up. She didn't know how to talk to you about this.
Her group of friends was targeted. This was happening to people that she was best friends with, and none of them mentioned it to each other even. These kids were so scared of these guys that they did not even tell each other.
I got close to one particular guy, and being 13, having a crush is like, you're in love. And for about a year and a half, we talked every day. He asked me for a sexy picture, and what he said would change my life. He said, here's your mom, your dad, here's where they work, here's your sister, where she goes to school, here's your front door, and here's videos I took without your permission. And he said, if you do not do what I say, I will hurt you, I will hurt your family, and I will ruin your life.
Well, Kaylee was hanging out with her friend Sierra when they innocently went online, and Kaylee was zeroed in on by predators. What she didn't know, though, was the same men who were targeting her also turned their attention to Sierra, and soon she became their victim as well. Now, joining us virtually is Sierra. Sierra, thank you so much for being here. and talking about this. I know it would be a lot easier not to.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate it. And when this all started, you were how old?
I was about to be 12. I was a little
Okay.
bit younger than Kaylee.
All right.
I was 11.
You said they wanted you to cut your wrist and legs on camera.
They wanted me to cut my legs and my arms on camera, and it was like a sexual thing for them. At some point, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to die. And he was like, do it. Like, let me watch. Like, that'd be hot. And at that point, I was like, what am I in? This is not who I thought it was. I don't know how to stop it. I'm scared. Like, what is there to do? And nobody knew. So I had nobody to talk to.
And I'm really curious, and I'm asking this in the event that children are watching this right now that are in a similar situation, don't know what to think, don't know what to say to their parents, or how to disclose this. What were you saying to yourself at the time? Because you had no one to talk to, you were just alone with your own thoughts. What were you saying to yourself alone in your room?
That how could this have happened to me? How could I have been so stupid to let this happen to me? I always believed, per my parents, that I was a very mature 11, 12, 13-year-old. So if they were saying this, why would I let this happen to myself? It's not your fault, and it's really hard not to feel alone.
And what did you think would happen if you had gone to your parents and said, look, I made a bad decision, I did something I shouldn't have done, and I'm getting blackmailed? What did you think would happen?
They would cast me out, hate me forever, and I would basically die of lack of love.
And what did you think at the time?
I thought that I'd get kicked out of the house. Like, they'd be like, oh, you're a really bad kid. We don't want you anymore, you know? Like we're gonna put you up for adoption or something. I don't know, like, just get rid of me, basically.
Yeah.
But I know that my parents are, like, there for me, like, the same with Sierra. Like, I know that my parents, like, love me and care for me. It's just like I don't know, like, the way that they were, like, drilling things into our brain made us think that our parents weren't there for us.
What would have been your reaction if she had come to you with this?
I would have found them. I would have found their IP addresses. I would have gone after them.
Yeah.
I would have gotten in touch with the FBI. I would have definitely not stopped until they were caught. There's no way it could have stopped me.
Yeah, you would have had a reaction, but it wouldn't have been against her.
Not at all. I think it's really important to say to parents out there that they should not judge their children for these things. This can be any child that this can happen to. So parents should know to be open and be supportive and not blame the child at all.
But there was so much more to cover. So here's a sneak peek at what's happening tomorrow. Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil, a conversation that every parent in America needs to hear. Sextorted to death.
Within minutes of them getting the picture, they demanded $5,000.
The deadly aftermath.
His little sister got home from school and found him.
He felt he had no other option but to take his own life.
As soon as the money has sent, it doesn't stop, because now they have a money source.
This can happen to anyone. That's tomorrow. Check your local listing. Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.